This episode of FilmRiot is brought to you by Domain.com. Welcome to FilmRiot Mondays. Today, we asked you to submit questions. You submitted questions on our Facebook. We looked through them. We picked a couple, and now I'm going to answer them.
Let's do it!
Why don't you guys shave more often? We do. We shave every day. We're all like a bunch of chia pets in a time lapse. We shave, and then like 2 seconds later, so it's like, and it's there. It's like one of those. You ever do those Play-Doh factories where you pull the thing and the hair just like wah, wah.
Yeah.
I don't know why we don't. We just don't. Okay. What's a simple weekly production exercise that you could recommend to improve directing and editing? Make stuff. All the time, always, forever and ever. Something that I used to do a lot is I would write a really short, like one-page scene. It didn't even have to really make sense or have a story. It was just two people talking and figuring out how to direct them to talk to each other naturally with a one-cam setup going from one end to the other. Because when you do a dialogue scene like that, you have to be able to direct the actors on one end to respond in kind on the other end. So if you switch how an actor's inflection is over here for the one line, the response line has to match that. So it's a matter of keeping all that in mind and knowing what you're going to do in the edit so it all feels very natural. So that's one great exercise. But picking any kind of scene like that, even a 30-second fight scene, anything, and just keep doing it and doing it. And the more you do it, go back and edit it and then watch it back over and over. Show it to other people, because when you finish something, when you watch it, you might be really happy with it. But when you show it to somebody else, it's weird. There's this weird thing where you're sort of watching it through their eyes and you pick up on all the mistakes. I'm sure a lot of you can totally relate to what I'm talking about right now. So just doing it, just coming up with a new type of scene to try out. Don't make some huge long thing, just make little bite-sized bits that you can go do, see what you did wrong, and go again. A degree in film and television, do I need it? This is just my personal opinion, but you know, nowadays I think it's 50-50. If you would ask me this 3-4 years ago, I would say, yeah, go to school. But now with the insane amount of information that's freely available to you, or that you can even get subscriptions to things like FXPhD or Lynda, things like that. There's so much info out there for you to get started that if you already sort of have the talent and you're making things that are pretty solid already, you just need to increase that talent, then I don't know that you need to go to film school. I mean, the massive advantage to film school is the networking that you're going to get there. You're going there with a bunch of like-minded people. You're going to make those connections, and then you're going to have them forever. So as you both go off into your careers, you will be able to call each other and help each other get work and things like that. So that's pretty invaluable, and you're not going to be able to get that as easily if you don't go to film school. And the other thing film school does is it focuses you for that period of time. So you have to create that thing. You have to learn that thing. So if you're not a very disciplined person, then also film school is probably a good choice for you. But if you're insanely passionate, insanely dedicated, you don't have the money for film school, I don't think all is lost. I think you could get there just by putting your talent out there and learning by the insane amount of info that's already readily available. Thanks to the magic of the internet, Josh.
The amazing magic.
It's really good.
I've been practicing it.
I could tell.
So.
Why do you use Macs for your workflow? Are they better than PCs for filmmakers to use? So I'm a Mac guy, but purely because I like the OS better. But Windows OS has been getting really good, and Windows 8 is actually kind of awesome. So it's just purely a matter of preference. I mean, for me, I use an iMac for the day-to-day stuff we do, but we're getting into much heavier projects, so what I have isn't quite sufficient anymore. So I'm going to have to get into a much bigger sort of desktop solution, just a workhorse, and doing that with a Mac is insanely expensive. You're talking about 10 grand or above what I could do with a PC for half the cost. That would even be faster. So I'll probably end up, you know, going between Mac and PC because I love them both for different reasons. The point is, don't be precious about brands or trends. It's who cares, man. It's be precious about the craft and the thing that you're making. Be excited about that. Whatever you use to make it, who cares? If you're shooting on an iPhone, a DSLR, film, digital, who cares? Like, people get into these flame wars over the dumbest stuff.
And it's so aggressive.
It is. I don't care what camera you use. I don't care what you edit on. I care what your end result is, and that's all you guys should care about too. What's your end result? What's your film? That's it. What you use to make it and release it, I couldn't care less. If you like Apple, good on you, bro. If you like PC, good on you, bro. Good on you. What will you do when Josh says he wants to leave FilmRiot? Stab him, gut him, stuff him, mount him. Ryan the Great. What are the top 3 books on filmmaking or directing that you would recommend? Ain't that some shit? I got more than 3 here, but these are some of my favorites. First one is Reflections, which is a book all on cinematography. It's kind of, I've read it like 80 times, so it's coming apart a little bit. But it's just a conversation with a bunch of different filmmakers, and they'll show some of their more iconic scenes. They got the camera plots in there. They go through what they did and the idea behind all of their shots. It's really enlightening. The next one is the Color Correction Handbook. This is a really great book on color correction. It goes through absolutely everything to what hardware you should get, what kind of computer, what software, how you should set up your room. It is insanely detailed. It's freaking fantastic. Next is a book on writing. Most books on writing I'm not a big fan of, but I really love this one, Save the Cat. It's so good. It's just Blake Snyder breaks it down and makes you think of it in ways that I hadn't before, and it's this no BS. It's not pretentious. It's just, if you want to be a writer, read this. Next is a book on directing by David Mamet. It is fantastic, and it's actually literally called On Directing Film. David Mamet. Really great book. It's just a lot of really good ideas behind directing and putting together a scene, dealing with actors, things like that. And my favorite editor, which is probably a lot of people's favorite editor, so it's almost cliche, Walter Murch's book, In the Blink of an Eye, fan-freaking-tastic. So that would be my lineup of my favorites. There's a lot more, but those are my favorites. And the last question, how long does it take you to watch all the Monday Challenge entries? Well, we actually watch them as they come in, so once you set them, we're probably watching them that day, at least up front anyway. The second week, it gets a little harder because of the shows and stuff, so usually once it gets to like the end, come the weekend before the Monday release, we usually like Saturday or Sunday, binge watch like 200 of them back to back. And just pick them all. But then we usually watch them all twice as we're picking the best ones. We'll watch them once through and then we'll go through and watch them all again. So I guess days?
Couple, yeah.
Yeah, a couple days. We've talked about this a million times before. If you're wanting to get yourself a website, the best place to do it is domain.com. And if you're looking to get yourself a .net, then once again, the best place to do that, domain.com. They just make everything really easy. You get your domain name, your hosting, get it up and going, you get it easy. It's clutter-free. I mean, a lot of the places that I've used before, just going on there and trying to figure out where the freak things are drove me nuts. I love how clean a domain is, and getting a .net is pretty great. I mean, I own several .nets, which we haven't used quite yet, but we will be using soon. But the best thing about getting a .net is if you have a brand, you really want to protect that brand. So if you have a .com for that name already, then you don't want people snatching up the .net to try to pretend to be you. So I always will back it up. I'll get the .com and the .net. But if you have a name that you have your heart set on and the .com is already taken, you can go ahead and get that .net. Once again, best place to do it, domain.com. Why? Because they're affordable. The .nets are only, and they're reliable. There's only $8.99 a year to get your .net. When you go and you're getting your thing, you're at checkout, just use coupon code FilmRiot at that checkout to get 15% off your order. So not only is it's reliable, it's already affordable, but you're getting 15% off. Plus, you're helping your friendly neighborhood FilmRiot keep their lights on. So that's good too. So when you think domain names, think domain.com. Logo. So that's it for today, but don't forget about the Visual Effects Challenge. You only have a few days left to get your submissions in. It's got to be in by Friday, noon CST, to possibly be the one who wins a TEL Blu-ray or DVD with the signed script and the signed Blu-ray and or DVD and what have you. If you want to double your chances of receiving a Blu-ray or DVD, we're also giving one away every single day to someone who has bought something from our Try and Apparel store. So if you want, you can jump over to the Try and Apparel store, buy some sexy filmmaker swag, and possibly be the one who wins for that day. But that is it for today, which means it's time for my short film suggestion of the week.
What is it, Ryan?
This one's called Unsaid, Josh. It is a very slow-moving short film, so be forewarned, it is The story is also very slow, and you don't quite know what's going on at first. There's not much dialogue, but it is a great example of setting strong atmosphere for your film. It's a very atmospheric film, as they will say, and if you've never seen one like that, you're wondering what that is, check this out. This does a great job of creating that tone and holding it throughout without really force-feeding it. It's all done through filmmaker techniques, and a very well done job indeed. Great cinematography, too, so check it out. Keep in mind, it is slow, but in the end, I was very happy I watched it. I really dug it. So definitely check that one out. And I'll see you guys next week when we watch some challenge winners.